And there we go. That's lair done. Feeling pretty good. Probably an unreasonable level of confidence after coming back to a much easier section of the game than what we're currently kind of playing at. But I'll take whatever kind of ego boosts I can, and I think it's time for us to head into depths. At least see how we fare. Maybe we will end up having to go to vaults. Made to eat my words that I claimed earlier, but if this does end up being the case, then so be it, and I'm sure we'll just deal as is. Of course, one last thing that I'm going to do before heading down is take a quick 30-second break. I'm going to run out, grab a refill for my drink, make sure we're staying properly hydrated as we make our way through the dungeon. Something most adventurers forget when they go for the Orb of Zot. Hydration, hydration, hydration. Make sure these knoll lips are moist, as we went earlier, or as we were talking about earlier. Out of context, if you're just coming in now, I apologize, but I swear it makes sense. Anyway, I'll be back right away here to continue on. Don't go anywhere, and I'll see you in just a second. Be right back. Okie dokie, there we go. Now I'm unmuted. Well, last but not least, of course, let us pour our drink real quick. What are my thoughts on keeping Gong during depths and Zot? Slightly concerned. Depths, I might be able to push it. I'm tempted, actually. Let's see, I did end up enchanting my necklace, or cursing my necklace, correct? Unfortunately. But I am debating, specifically for this exact moment, Gong might be a bad idea. You never want to create too dangerous of a situation at a choke point like your depths entrance. This is our only stairway down. If this goes poorly, we're screwing ourselves out of the entire floor, at least causing issues for the most part. So I'm tempted to swap it out for this exact moment for that exact reason. If we did so, we'd be replacing it with a reflection shield, which the brand is going to do nothing for us, but it is at least a buckler. I guess, actually, now that we do have the reflection amulet consistently branded to ourselves, we could go back for a +2 kite shield instead. I'll want the buckler of reflection later. No, let's go for the kite shield, actually. Oh boy, we're going all over the place one way or another here. But that is all fine, just to make sure that we're properly prepared and not gonna immediately regret our decisions in life moving forward. I feel like that's worth the quick trip down back into Spider. Thought we'd never see you again, but here we are. Let's pick up that kite shield. Yes, of course I cannot carry that many items. You're not wrong, game. You're not wrong. Sometimes I just get a little confused. I think I'm stronger than I am, you know? Gotta understand, game. So, let us... could drop the enchant armor scrolls and use them. Thank you for the good explanations. Thank you, I try, but definitely not always feeling quite so concise with my words. I've definitely fumbled my way through explaining things many times in the past, but I thank you for the vote of confidence. Because on the flip side, I like to think that I can, if given a good day, can explain things at least to an okay degree. Regardless of whether that's accurate or not, whether I need that extra boost of confidence, I like to think so. Let's head back to our depths entrance now that we're good to go, all set and ready. Hopefully not about to kill ourselves. That's the plan, at least. Oh, hello, my Tengu friends. Kind of forgot that we left a large majority of this area unexplored. I mean, not for long after we make some noise with the gong. This is actually a fight where irradiating probably is a decent idea. In fact, Psych, if you would join us, please. I would like to get 2 birds, 2 stoned here. Perfect. I think what we're gonna do is actually potentially come back to this level. I mean, we were just talking about clearing layer 6 and that being a step down in difficulty, but going back to D10 on this character, oh boy, am I excited. Oh, look at that fancy axe. Could actually keep that for fighting against magic using enemies. Again, I know I'm struggling constantly with inventory issues, so maybe it makes me a fool to even suggest such a thing, but really. An anti-magic axe. It's not a broad axe, but it is a war axe, and it is +8. I'll pick it up and probably end up throwing it on the ground in just a few moments when I come across something else that I desperately want to get my grubby little paws on, but until then, I like it. And let's quickly finish this level, especially since it has one of these kind of special vault areas. It's relatively likely that we have some treasure at our disposal. And I do like me some treasure, so let's do this. We even see that red smiley face up above. I'm curious, I think that's just a holdover from the first time we were in the vicinity here, because there aren't a lot of things that still kind of qualify at that level of difficulty. Let's just smack our way through a couple of these sons of guns. And, okay, we almost definitely did clear out some relatively straightforward enemies. I mean, there's a condenser vein and a box of beasts, so if we had somehow found our way to fight through this area, we could have had those. +2 helmet. I think I'm wearing just a bog standard +0, right? Okay, game, I see you. Beguiling and fortitude for our curse. Don't love beguiling. But I'll probably do it just because I'm about to bind something, and probably do so on our gloves of stealth. The stealth, which is definitely helping out a great deal while we have the gong equipped. Can't see a better combo. But that works out because now we can shatter the chains, can get rid of the helmet of tethered skepticism, though that may be important to a certain extent to make sure we're staying skeptical and analyzing things properly, and instead, let's wear this helmet. See invisible? Totally useless. But a +2 helmet? That I can get behind. Let's ignore that, ignore that, oops, ignore that, and last but not least, ignore that. And now we go back to depths. There we go. Little bit of housekeeping on the journey. Don't you hate it when you leave the stove running? But at the end of the day, all worth it to quickly pick up. If only the gong said shh very loudly instead. That would be the dream, would it not? A nice, quiet gong. A mezzo piano gong, if you will. But let us swap our shields. Get a +4 kite shield, and this is a good way to introduce ourselves to the new neighborhood. Make sure we're making friends without making too many friends, you know? At least everything seems to be ice themed, and I mean, if there's one department that I'm confident in, it's in our cold resistance, so absolutely lovely. Thank you, squad. I will take a small selection of you, my favorite 4, upstairs real quick to finish you off in advance. And who's next? Who wants the second go at the roller coaster of life here? Unfortunately, I will say that the destination may not be amiable to all of you monsters because it does involve death to a certain degree, mostly yours. There we go. And you can see even without the gong shield, we drew quite a selection of enemies to the stairs here. It only gets worse when you bring the gong into the mix beforehand, so absolutely huge that we do our best to avoid any of those exceptionally scary situations and take advantage of the fact that we hadn't quite cursed our gong to us yet. subtly checking for new curses there, make sure I didn't miss any. But it definitely works out in the long run, regardless here. And holy moly, why are you hurting so badly, friends? Let's do some quick maths, shall we? You're not using Blink Bolt, you're just smacking, which you do smack hard, don't get me wrong. Is it you? But we have good cold resistance. I mean, 3d25 isn't exactly a sneeze, but... Huh. How about that? Rollercoaster of life is such a good metaphor. You gotta include the ups and downs, especially when there's death involved in the future for all these enemies, ideally. It's only fair to make sure that we're representing as such, right? Also, I contaminated myself worse than I would like to, and yet we still have not killed all of our enemies. Well, that's less than spectacular. I guess what we could do, drink one of our heal wounds, as much as I do want to save those for Zot. Kill the fire first, since we have the lowest resistance there, and then the rest of you shall fall in your own time. Like dominoes, they will come to learn to fall. And there we go. We're just about through. I mean, maybe I'll do the entirety of Depths 1 without the gong. And then we'll definitely be wanting to swap back as soon as is appropriate. One more enemy, please. Perfect. That's exactly what we were hoping. Start off with some good old radiation, of course, like we do. There's only one way to make an introduction to new friends, and that's to just irradiate the ever-living crap out of them. And not too shabby. Ooh, I do want to kill the Berserker with Irradiate, so I'm actually going to wait till you step back into the fray, you fool. And there we have it. So many giants. This is definitely a run where you don't want to be sitting without one of either cold or fire resistance, because that would have been an absolute nightmare. In fact, probably would have been a death, knowing my my playstyle, if we didn't have at least that one pip of fire resistance. Speaking of fire resistance, of course, what could we expect but to come up against a multitude of fire-based enemies immediately after? Perfect. Halberd of Venom? I probably don't mind. Force Lance? I do kind of mind, if I'm being honest with you, not what I was hoping for. That is a rude way to introduce. Irradiating yourself to new friends? Totally understandable, but pushing them off? Keeping your distance like that? I mean, maybe if you're following COVID protocols, but that aside, if you're not social distancing, I would appreciate some level of, friendship. Oh boy, that paralysis do you be hurting though. Soul Eater, what are you doing with your life? You are resistant to cold, but I can still probably blast you with something if I just want to get the heck out of this situation. And it does in fact kill you, you fool. Don't you feel like an idiot now? Hello, my giant friend. You're going to catch up to us as we go across the water, but I'm hoping we make it back to the stairwell in one piece. Fantastic stuff. Am I considering full clear of depths 1 to 5 and Zot 1 to 5, or only 3-room dive to Zot 5? So depths, I like to full clear every time, just to get the extra experience, as well as potentially find some sweet, sweet treasures along the way. Zot, that one becomes a little bit more of a runtime decision, depending on how strong the run is and how I'm feeling. Also, that one also kind of falls into the category of time restriction. If I don't have a lot of time to work with, I'll generally skip through the majority of Zot floors, with some precautions being paid, of course. I like to make a lot of noise at the stairs that I'm going down, just to make sure that we, None of you can fly, hey? You didn't think this through. Yeah, I like to make a lot of noise at the stairs just to ensure that when we retreat, we don't get surrounded by enemies to an uncomfortable degree, but yeah, I'll have to decide once we get a little bit closer to the moment whether we want to clear through all of Zot or just kind of skip our way through. Likely going to be skipping our way through on this character because we're quite strong. We don't need the extra experience for sure. And I am slightly short on time today in general, so it would potentially help out to be able to skip some of the less than necessary sections of the game if possible. Oh, my sweet summer children. You could just stay on that side. Oh, never mind. I kind of taught you that there is a route to us. Whoopsie daisies. Well, that's fine. Very ugly things. If you want to just come with me on a grand tour. I mean, depending on how long you've spent down in depths, maybe you'd appreciate coming back up to the regular dungeon for a bit. How about that? Ooh, fancy. Regular dungeon. But you don't see this place very often. Hope you enjoy the tour. You do have to die now, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Sounds like a good idea to adjust depending on the resistance. Definitely. Yeah, your resistance, your killing power becomes a huge part of it. If I don't have electricity resistance, I'm probably skipping through Zot. Because you don't want to come up against a lot of Black Draconians or Storm Dragons. It's just going to be a nightmare situation across the board. So ideally, you avoid a lot of those potentially lethal fights by just being a little bit sneaky on your way. Most of the time, when we're making our way through, I do try to ensure that I have 5 magic mapping scrolls, so we can map out each and every one of the Zot floors, so that helps a lot if you do want to skip. But yeah, you'll see a pattern occurring here where a lot of these questions, my answer is, well, it kind of depends. And that's just very much a truth of the matter here. Also, ooh, new tile for the Vampire Mage. Looking good, my man. I mean, slightly more frail than you used to be, but I think that's appropriate. You're old even for a vampire, I'm sure. Okie dokie. I'll just finish off with irradiates here so we don't have to deal with all your summons. And that is beautiful. But yeah, I think that it's part of the beauty, going back to, again, just jumping between conversation topics to no avail today. Apparently my brain is just on a very unfocused track at the moment. But going back to the idea of everything being kind of situational and dependent, I do find that that's actually what I kind of enjoy most about the game, because I love that it adds a sort of almost puzzle-like aspect to it. So often I find when trying to decide on where to go, especially on a run that is going poorly, if you're constantly struggling, it makes you get really creative with your problem solving and like, okay, I'm gonna, ooh, big bonk on my mic stand, apologies. It's not like I'm trying to make a point or anything, mic stand. Should know to get out of my way. But yeah, when you're kind of crawling between different levels of the game, you know, making little bits of progress, then having to turn back and go somewhere else. Making bits of progress, turn back, go to that first place again. That's when I find that I'm maybe not just having the most fun, because that's a bit more subjective, but definitely the most kind of drawn into the game and intrigued, because I'm trying my best to juggle all these different factors and potential options in my head and come out with the most optimal one, and that is a lot of fun for somebody like me. So I very much enjoy that aspect of the game, and I think that that's a huge part of the draw that keeps me coming back to DCSS over the years. Very well balanced in that regard. So yeah, we did get Cunning and Evocations. What do I have to curse right now? Oh, I have some trash I can curse. Cunning, I mean, dodging is kind of nice. Stealth, not so much, especially if we do end up using the gong to any greater extent moving forward. But dodging is nice, and evocations. I mean, do I even have to go on this tangent again? You know my thoughts. And if you don't, just skip like to almost any section of the video, and I feel like there's a good chance you'll find me explaining it, because I just go on and on about my love for evocables in the game, especially the recharged ones. But regardless, let's meld this helmet to our head, get it in all sorts of cursed states, and I will actually swap back to the gong here, because now at the very least, if things start to go poorly, if we draw too much attention to ourselves, we'll be okay. I also just missed out on... Wait, no, I just used the curse. Really, Ashen's Art, already another one? I know I'm exploring a lot of territory here, which I do know you love. But Companions is crap. Companions and Alchemy were way too common over the course of this run. It would help us if we ever get Spellforged Servitor. And if we get Spellforged Servitor, I could teach it to cast the Hoodib's Crystal Spear. So, when I put it that way, let's even check. I think I had some spellbooks in the past. Did I have... let's actually look up Forged. I feel like that's the best way. Maybe in Forge, just in case. Okie dokie. Okay, my fiery friend, if you could come this way, I'd like to make some noise while standing on the stairs if possible. No, apparently I am a very sneaky boy. Right this way, sir. Please and thank you. If you could walk this direction for but a moment. Gong me? There we go. There's the gong and the deafening shouts and roars and all that good stuff that you know and love. Head upstairs with our new fire giant friend. And... rinse and repeat. Oh, brisk crackle of a very distant magical portal. I didn't even notice. Holy moly, we have a Wizlab way down here, hey? Let's try that out. Do I mean that hard situations are where I need to think hard on what action to take is more fun, or the situation where there's not a clear action to take? More so the first, yeah. And I guess I would like to clarify again that it's mostly, or even more so rather, a case of I find it more engaging. But I think what's important and what DCSS does very well is that there almost always is an action to take. With the amount of experience that I have in the game kind of built into this statement, I feel like it's very rare that I have no action and just have no idea what to do, and instead it's more of that juggling act of humming and hawing, and like, I feel like there is a solution here, I just need to think on it a little bit more, and I'm sure I'll come to some level of eureka or understanding. And generally I do, and for that I find it extremely engaging and interesting to make it through those challenging situations. It's a lot of fun. Okay, Gong was potentially a bad swap choice now that we've made it clear that there is a Wizlab portal here, because the chances of me making it to a time portal before it closes while attracting all the denizens on this entire floor to my location is not fantastic. Ooh, that door just opened, so I will leave. Goodbye. No, thanks, Astra. Yeah, I always just very much enjoy that kind of blend of learned mechanics and kind of puzzle solving, problem solving. I think that's what it comes down to, because I do love puzzles for sure, don't get me wrong, but it is largely a problem solving simulator in a lot of ways. And I find that very satisfying, especially when you eventually get that breakthrough. When you're on a tough character, I had a vampire that was just struggling so much no matter where I went. I kept having to switch between being in dead mode and alive mode as I switched branches, trying to just get that little bit of leverage, little bit of leeway. And when I finally did, oh my gosh, did it feel great. It felt so satisfying, so rewarding, because I felt like I did that. And it was all very much like a personal set of decisions. And for that, I think the game does a really good job, to say the least. But hello, my berserker friend. You have good evasion, so I'm just gonna radiate you. Oh no, I want your friend. There we go. I want the Spriggan berserker, please and thank you. We are getting poked and prodded by the rider above, but that should be okay. Fantastic. I too late for the whiz party? I think I'm too late for the wizard party. Yeah, that was definitely my bad though. Didn't even realize it was there for much too long. Spent, I think, a couple hundred turns even on the floor without noticing. So that's never a great thing. It's even more rough because we're a follower of Ashen Zari, and so we have no excuses to be missing any time portal given the opportunity, but that's okay. And oh my gosh, we do end up getting some javelins as we face off against a javelineer. Absolutely love it. Oh wait, maybe not. Still only have 6 javelins? Well, I guess that's cool. To each their own. If you don't want to carry around a stack of backup javelins, then who am I to judge? But I will complain about it, to say the least. And ooh, another helmet. If this one wasn't vulnerability to fire, I'd take it in a heartbeat. But unfortunately, I think it's just slightly outside of our scopes of possibility. Enchant weapon scroll, don't mind if I do. That goes right on the Foosty boy. And take me away. Sure, this has potential to turn into another nightmare situation. I should probably, in fact, head back to being a little bit closer to our stairwell. If I wasn't such a mad lad, that would probably be the way to move forward here in the safest of fashions. But instead, I'm just going to needlessly charge into battle. There's a red angry face in there. What at this level would be a red angry face? Was that Jorah? That looked like a unique, but in general it's just a new tile, so I have no idea what to expect. I guess we wouldn't see here because they didn't technically come into our sightline. Interesting. Astral Sight almost gave us a bit of a clue as to what the future holds. Oh, it's a Juggernaut. Oh, and it swapped positions. Oh, what fun. What fun, friend. What was our plan for Juggernauts? Oh, Dispersal, but we haven't learned Dispersal yet because I'm silly. Down to 16% failure rate. So not too bad. I could take that. Okie dokie, so putting a body between us does potentially help out. It will force the Juggernaut to at least take one of those hitting turns where they then slow down for a couple after. But I think at the end of the day here, we pretty much need to teleport out of here. So I'm going to Box of Beasts. That gives me 2 turns, or multiple even, because of the Juggernaut falling behind. Then Scroll of Teleport. Goodbye, friends. I said good day, sir. Perfect. So that's slightly terrifying. Now's where I will pop in here, and let's learn Dispersal so we at least have some kind of emergency button in the future. That works out. Hey, Colgate, you were so close, but you got clowned. Oh, wow, though. Nice. You were all the way in Zot, at the very least. Were you in Zot 5 when you got clowned? Those clowns will get you. It's a sneaky and slightly sinister thing, because so often you ignore them, you know. When there's an orb of fire next to you, you're much more concerned about that orb of fire than some little clowny boys, but that's how they get you. I've definitely fallen victim to many before, especially since the sheer amount of chaos that they bring to it means that there's almost no way to account for all the various factors that are potentially going to come into play. So it's a tough one. Silence and minus potion, fun times. Oof. Yeah, that's a rough one. But still, congrats on making it all the way to Zod 5 and just about making it there, just on the cusp of victory. That's what it's all about. So I'm glad that you got close, even if it does understandably hurt a little bit to make it that far and to falter, because I've definitely done so before many a time. Many a time. Some may argue too many. For me, specifically. But you did visit a Zig too, so you got the Zom tier 1 banner for us. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Colgate. In general, you're getting, yeah, like good exploration score. Plenty of points to be had that aren't the victory itself. So thank you for all your hard work for the squad, making sure that we're getting some of those slightly more niche categories as well. That's awesome. What do I do with you? I guess I could Phantom Mirror Juggernaut. I'll regret this if another unique shows up, but my Juggernaut friend, if you could join the party here and slap this buddy, that would be greatly appreciated. My punches maybe not quite as effective against a Titan like a Juggernaut, unfortunately. Let's use Acid Wand, and then I'm going to resort to, I think, Irradiate, since it seems to be our only real source of heavy damage against these tankier targets. Unfortunately. But there we have it. We're able to kill the Juggernaut. Very scary. Definitely was a source of concern, to say the least. Then I'll tab far too quickly. Probably find myself in a nasty situation in just a moment here. That's great. Some tier 2 banner would have been level 10 of a Zig. Yeah. No, and it always depends on your Ziggurats. That can either be a walk in the park or it can be a brutal nightmare depending on what types of floors you get. So generally a better idea to just be happy with that first banner and get the heck out of there in one piece, unless you're playing on a ridiculously strong character, which is generally not the case, at least not to that extreme of a situation. Levels 8 and 9 were too much for you. You were Filthy Swine in Zig 9, and the enemy was sitting on top of the stairs to Zig 10, so you had to leave. Oof, yeah, that is rough. How's the gong doing for us? Oh, it's a blessing and a curse as always, is it not? Definitely calling a lot of attention, as it is wont to do. But the defensive advantages that we've gained from switching over to it cannot be diminished completely, for sure, to say the least. So that has been a huge help. But we'll have to see. I'm always ready and willing to swap off of it at any given moment. As soon as things start to look a little bit dire, a little bit tricky, I want to be pretty quick on my feet here. Ready to pivot, stay agile, right? It's always important. Hello, friend. When we do get another helmet immediately here. If this one is something better than See Invisible, I'd definitely be more than happy to try it out. Not better than our current helmet, so scratch that, never mind. Auto Explorer, please. That stone giant is not a danger to us or anyone. They're just a poor innocent friend. There we go. And this way, I guess, is where the Spring Era mage is. There you are. The one time that Ashen's Astral Sight truly becomes a nightmare for us. These kind of setups. 2 scrolls of acquirement. Holy moly, friend. Don't mind if I do. Harm ego on a pair of boots. I don't think I can convince myself to take such drastic measures. It is still Rampage. It is intelligence, which has been our huge part, or a huge issue when it comes to casting spells. We're at 10 intelligence and we're wearing armor, which is why a lot of the level 6 spells are still out of reach, even though generally on a null, this is where those would start coming online. But it's just not worth it. A Staff of Death. Gotta love a Staff of Death. So creepy sounding in theory and title, but we all know that it's just a big softie with the amount of positive energy it gives off, the good vibes. Pretty fantastic. Harmon Rampage, the safest of ego combinations. Oh, I can't even imagine what kind of trouble we'd get ourselves into. OSHA approved for sure. Oh yeah, definitely. Don't see how it could possibly blow up in our face. How could it go wrong? But I do believe... I was going to say that we just take the gold pieces, but we have so much gold that I'm going to take the Staff of Death for the funsies. Positive vibes only. And let's see what our last scroll does here. +5 Kite Shield with stat bonuses is technically better than the one that we're currently wearing. The ring is kind of nice, but we don't have an open slot on that regard, which is unfortunate. Staff of Death. Dual wield death staffs, the only way to go about things in life. Oh, I see, because we got offered another one here too. I kind of want to save it, but I have to at least think about the shield. And plus they make you clumsy, which is funny. The boots, yeah. Clumsy, taking all the harm in the world, and accidentally stumbling my way into enemies. The most brilliant of combinations, a triple threat, if you will. But okie doke, the Shield of McLeb Scorn. I'm definitely feeling some scorn towards McLeb after how one of our more recent Deep Elf runs went. It's a very good shield, but Gong Shield. This is true. I guess when I said my current shield, that was also slightly misleading, was it not? Not better than the Gong Shield. Everyone knows the Gong Shield is the single greatest invention that any magical artificer has ever created in this universe, but I do have a garbage kite shield in my back pocket for switching into for Abyss. So, save it, look away. I'm not going to take the Staff of Death. I'm going to embarrass myself in front of my peers here. And I think I'm going to take the shield. Pretty fantastic. It'll allow us to drop... Right? I kind of forgot, as I suspected, that this War Axe was in our inventory whatsoever. +5 kite shield. Get out of my face, please and thank you. Respectfully, of course. And there we go. We have a replacement shield for some very specific sections of the game where we may not want to quite bring the noise quite as prodigiously. And we'll keep her moving here. In your current run, you had an Ice Cave at level 12 that had 2 Quicksilver Oozes and an Azure Jelly with crappy loot in it as well. Oh boy, what a combination. That is exceptionally rough, for sure. Even if it did have good loot, at level 12, 2 Quicksilver Oozes, oof. That's rough stuff, depending on, yeah, what you have at your disposal as well. Okie dokie, Depths 2 is clear. Wide open area in Depths 3, so let's make some noise once more, shall we? Is that just the Vampire Knight again? You all look like Jories to me now. You all look too fancy in your new jackets. So, let's bring some friends to our stairs, and then I'm gonna plop my way up real quick, if you would be so kind as to let me enjoy my journey. Thank you. Oh, and this is our unexplored stairs, so I actually might take a peek here to see how things look. This is the opposite side of the dungeon completely, so that's kind of nice. Maybe I'll keep this as a future option so that we don't completely close ourselves off from the possibilities. You had higher expectations for the loot after such guards? I would too. I think that is a fair expectation, to say the least. I feel like the Ice Caves almost knew what they were doing at this point. Had it out for you the entire time. But did you manage to survive? It sounds like it. In which case, definitely huge props, way to go. Those Quicksilver jellies have killed many a character that is much beyond that experience level and has good equipment, and there still can be an absolute nightmare. But time to let the radiation floweth. By my Spriggan friend. Ooh, I think I miscast Irradiate at the end there, but no harm, no foul. Ooh, also left some friends on this floor. Hello, sir. Let's blast you. You have to use more consumables than you did get in the loot. That's always the less than ideal trade, to say the least, right? You're always hoping that you at least break even, but to go with a deficit is, oof, definitely a rough shot at things. Body deteriorates. Please don't. I have sensitive skin. Let's just blast you all. Probably after saying something like that, I shouldn't be blasting radiation damage out of said sensitive skin, but it is what it is. We do what we must here, right? Had to use Potion of Haste, Potion of Brilliance, and many Paralysis Wand charges. Sounds about right, yeah. And are there any other spells that I potentially want to learn? I guess I have not tried new Yara's Violent Unraveling. This works against summons now. Huh. I think I'm gonna learn Yara's Violent Unraveling. I almost called it Unrazzling for some reason, which is just not a thing. Don't think that that's a real verb. But sounds good to me. Some kind of method to deal with summons could be kind of cool, I imagine. You love new Yara, Zagly? Nice. I'm excited to get to try it out. Usually I don't have any recourse for those bad summons. It would have helped out in this run, coming up against some like early Ice Fiends and stuff, so that's huge. And say if your regular D&D game is on your wife's birthday, so you know what the right thing to do is, but do you ask her about the exception, or is even asking just as dumb as an idea as it seems? It's dumb. Definitely depends on a little bit, or to a certain extent, your mentality around birthdays. I always laugh about this kind of situation or question because my wife and I are diametrically opposed in how we treat our birthdays. I very much came from a family where birthdays weren't that special and it's just another day to me, so I never really want to do anything on my birthday. But if birthdays are a thing in your family, then you gotta definitely, throw that respect on there. Most important date of the year. Depends on if she's playing or not. She's not, so no D&D for you then. That sounds about fair, yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes we must pay the price for the things we love. Though I'm sure it's still... Oh. Caustic Shrike. Oh, geez Louise. Oh, and there are more. Okay, I'm taking these two upstairs. Sorry, getting distracted slightly here. This is the worst case scenario. A flock of these sons of guns. Oh, dearie me. You're hurting real bad, my friend. Real bad indeed. I guess my fist is actually better than Irradiate against you. Huh. How about that? What is different about Yara's in 0.28? Only that it's smite targeted. So it also affects summons now. It almost acts like Abjuration used to on a single target. So I think, from what I understand at least, maybe take all this with a grain of salt. I haven't actually used the spell in this version yet, just kind of had an idea of what was in the changelog. But it seems like you can now use it on a summon to just get rid of a summoned creature really fast, which is awesome. Colgate, your loot from that ice game you mentioned was the Potion of Haste. Another potion you don't remember generally means it wasn't a good potion. If you can't even remember it, I think it's fair to assume that it was trash. But fairly okay. Amulet, artifact, spellbook was fridge and around 60 gold. And I also had to use a blink scroll. Oof, that's rough. You know, that's a great change. I agree. I think that it's fun to make Yara's a bit more, not just usable, which it does to a large extent or large degree, but it also, I think, just promotes bringing it into your spellbook for multiple reasons. It's a good way to kind of bring back some of the Abjuration level stuff without making it quite as much of a no-brainer as it used to be. Yara can also explode summons, yeah. I assume so, because that's how it works against the status effects, but that's good to know, because if we're right next door, might want to think twice about that one. Oh gosh, though. That dragon took forever to kill.